previously on Gears.
It's 2 o'clock in South Africa, which means it's time for Disi's Double Ds. Proudly brought to us by Celsi and Red Bull Mobile. Guys, if you are near a computer, put your cameras on because you want to see this lady. Today on Disi's Double Ds, I'm featuring a beautiful lady with a beautiful heart who recently spent 7 days and nights in a baby shelter and women's shelter in Cape Town. It's Alyssa Fisher. Hi, Alyssa. Welcome to Gears on Balls Visual Radio.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to be chatting to you because what you've done over the last, I think you finished on Wednesday, Tuesday night was your final night, and what you did was absolutely incredible. But before we get on to that, I just want to ask you about yourself. Tell us a bit more about Alyssa, what you do.
Alyssa is a fun, outgoing lady slash girl who works with children in her in my main capacity, but I do a lot of charity work on the side. So for the past 3 years I've been very much involved in charity work and getting involved in different initiatives and connecting people with charity. So that's my passion.
Well, that's amazing. And how long have you been, how old are you? And has charity work always been a passion of yours? Have you always lived in South Africa and tried to be involved in that?
Yeah, I'm 26 years old. I think I've been involved in charity work, I'd say, for the last 5 years. I moved to Cape Town actually only 6 years ago. I lived in Germany from when I was 10. I was born in Cape Town, so I have my South African roots. But I moved to Germany when I was 10 because my parents are German, and I stayed there until I was 20 and decided it was too cold and the people were a bit too unfriendly, so I decided to come back to Cape Town. And yes, I've been here since the past 6 years and have been doing, a lot of charity work on the side, but mainly I work with children and love it.
That's amazing. Okay, you spent a week in a shelter. What initiated your decision to do this, or what inspired you to go and do this?
Because I've been involved in charity work, I saw last year that Dare to Share were doing an initiative where they spend 7 days and 7 nights on the streets. And then they documented it, and it was all just to highlight homelessness and to, yes, to bring that topic closer to us, the normal person, so that we actually know what's best, how to deal with homeless people best, and how to help them best. And it struck a chord with me, so I got into contact with them, and they said they'd love to do something in regards to domestic violence, which is the topic that they are tackling at the moment. And so the idea came about that I would stay in a shelter for 7 days and 7 nights. And seeing that I have so many contacts in charities, I just emailed one of my contacts, which was the women's shelter that impresses me the most and that I try to help out the most. And she said, come on over. So yes, it was actually quite easy.
That's amazing. And how was it? How was your time there?
The beginning was tough. Well, first I arrived and I actually thought, hopefully these ladies will accept me, because if they don't and they just kind of look at me as, ugh, what is this like blonde chick doing here in our shelter, the project won't work. So literally from the first moment, they were all so accepting, and they came up to me and said, I'd love to share my story with you if you have some time. And that was reassuring. So the first day was amazing. I was happy. I was exhilarated. I went to bed very happy. But then the next day, after hearing one story after the other, it really emotionally pulled me down and drained me so much, because I'm not used to hearing so many horrible stories. I mean, of death and murder and rape and homelessness and drugs. And it was just one story after the other. So it really got me down. But what got me back up was the next day, a friend of ours came to visit me for 24 hours. And she was like, right, let's get to work. And that was the thing that actually got me out of my pity pit, because I was lying on bed and I didn't want to see anything, or I didn't want to see the world. And I started working, and they gave me a lawnmower, and I stood there for 2 days on Saturday and Sunday, because it looked like a jungle out there, the front lawn and the backyard lawn. It was just grass this high. So I'm there with my lawnmower, and all the ladies are looking at me as if I'm crazy, because like, what is this white woman doing here working on a weekend? But yes, that was actually the working was what got me out of feeling sorry for everyone and everything. And actually, it's that sense of empowerment And that is also what I found in the shelter to be the most important thing, is that all these women have such a sense of empowerment and hope, and none of them are victims. All of them say, I'm not a victim, I'm a queen of my own life, I have dignity, and they do little fashion shows, and no matter where you go, you see them singing and laughing, and it's beautiful. It's a community, they're there for each other, and so it was wonderful. In retrospect, it was wonderful, but it was tough going through it.
How would you describe a day while being there, if from one of their perspectives? Like, obviously, you were there only for a week, but if they wake up in the morning, what kind of food do they eat? What do they get up to? Is it mostly mothers and children?
Um, First, let's go to the food because that was what got me the most. Every single morning, and you must understand, I'm only here for a week. They're there for 6 months to a year. Every single morning, it's millipap. Every afternoon, it's rice with a little bit of bland sauce, and every night, it's the same rice with the same sauce. And if that ran out, it's bread. So
Wow.
every single day of their lives, that is what they eat, and the children the same. So that is like that got to me as well, which is why I organized for my last day some cake to be delivered. We're going back this weekend to cook them some spaghetti bolognese,
Oh,
just no
sweet.
rice, please no rice. Um, yes, but otherwise the days we started at 5 a.m. So we get kicked out of bed at 5 a.m. We all have to do our 1 hour of chores. I was usually outside raking or just doing something outside. And the house mother, she's amazing. She'd always come to us, and like I would be turning up the earth, and then she'd come to me and say, Alyssa, what do you need to unearth in your life? And then she'd run off. So now for an hour while I'm doing this hectic work, I'm thinking about what she said to
Wow.
me. And I'm like, if I was one of the ladies, I'd be thinking, okay, the areas in my life I need to unearth, their weeds I need to pull out. I better pull them out correctly or thoroughly, otherwise they're going to come back and I'm going to have to do more work. And some places in your life are harder to unearth than others. And she always does like little things like that. So she leaves you with a job, but it's a job that gets your mind thinking, not just your body.
That's
And that is what
amazing.
I love as well. Yeah.
That's incredible. I saw on Twitter you mentioned one little girl who asked her mom where her dad was. And you said that that was one moment that really got to you personally. Could you
Yeah.
tell the listeners more about that?
That moment was it was my roommates, and we stayed in the same room together. And every night, she would always speak to her daughter and say, repeat after me, say, I am beautiful, I'm kind, this is my body, no one is allowed to touch it. And I heard it every single night. And then the last day, I asked her, like, why do you say that to her every night? And she says to me, when I was young, I was molested by my stepfather. Um, then growing up, I had boyfriends, and they would always mentally break me down and say, I'm not worthy, I'm not beautiful, I'm not this, not that. And then the abuse would start. So it's always the mental abuse that starts first, and then the physical abuse. And so she was like, but I deserve it because, if my stepfather molested me, if my boyfriends tell me I'm ugly and not worth it, then I'm deserving of it. So she says, I'm breaking the cycle with my daughter. She will grow up to know her worth and to know that this is her body. No one is allowed to touch it. And I'm beautiful and I'm worthy and I'm not worthy of anything negative and horrible happening to me. So that was just amazing.
Oh, that is incredible. Looking forward, are you wanting to do some more work like this where you actually hands on in a place or in a shelter?
Yes, definitely. That was my thing. That this for me was a little experiment to see if I can actually emotionally deal with situations like this. And I have to say I've been thriving. I've never been happier. It's probably been the hardest work I've ever done in my life, but I've never been happier. And this is something I know that I am going to carry on doing, and I want to. I want to highlight things and get people involved. Like the feedback has been amazing. The people have been tweeting me constantly, how can they help? This photo inspired me to donate this, or this photo, I want to do this. So it's
Wow.
just amazing to see how I thought it was actually all in vain what I'm doing because I can't actually help the situation. But no, it's been amazing. I definitely want to continue what I'm doing.
Well, I take my hat off to you because it takes a lot of courage to do what you did and take a week and go and actually put yourself in a less fortunate person's situation or position. So I take my hat off to you. For our listeners, our listeners out there, if they are able to help you, how can they help you? How can they contact you?
They can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Lissa Fisher. That's Lysafischer. And they can get hold of me on there. I also have a website, but they can see that on my Twitter handle as well. And just get a hold of me tomorrow. We're actually all in a whole group going together to the shelter. So if you have any food to donate, if you have any toys to donate, if you have clothes to donate, anything you want to do, come tomorrow at 10 a.m. to the McDonald's parking lot at the Greenpoint Stadium. That's where we'll all be meeting. If you want to donate anything, just drop it off. If you want to come and join us, please, you're more than welcome to. We're going to leave at about 10:15. So be on time, Cape Town. Lazy. Yes, so we'll be leaving at 10:15. We're going to have an amazing afternoon, no matter rain or sunshine. We're going to do some work and play with the kids. And yes, so come join.
Well, that's fantastic. And really, please keep us updated on what you're doing. If you do anything in the future, I'd love to chat to you and maybe get involved and help you out. And thanks so much for chatting to us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Have a lovely weekend and enjoy tomorrow.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Oh, what a lovely, friendly lady. Alyssa Fisher. It's Alyssa Fisher on Twitter. If you can help her out, if you are in the Cape Town area, get hold of her. She is going back to that shelter tomorrow. And as you heard, the smallest things help. Any help or anything you can give, whether it be your time or a possession, can change someone's life. That was Disi's Double D's, brought to us by Red Bull Mobile and Cell C.
Beautiful people, beautiful people. Don't you know, don't you know? Oh, beautiful, don't you know? No, no. Live your life, live your life. Let that love inside. It's your life, it's your life.
Believe. Cell C. The power is in your hands.
Gears. GearsOnBalls.co.za. Weekdays 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.